The market, the stock market, is in search of a story. Is in search of a story. What does that mean? 24 was all about, especially at the end of the year, it was about the rate cuts. I want the rate cuts. They got the rate cuts, now they want more rate cuts. What kind of way of running a market is that? The market is truly looking for a black swan. It's looking for a reason. It's looking for a reason to sell. See how it behaves with Tesla. Anytime something goes wrong, dump the stocks. Anytime the market doesn't like what it hears about the rates, it dumps it. I'm going to give you 5 reasons. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think we're heading for something you are not going to like in the stock market. 5 reasons. And let me tell you, once you're done with those 5, I don't care what's going on in the market. I don't care how great the earnings are. We are going to be in trouble. First, you need to realize that valuations are very high right now. Okay? I know we're making lots of money. I know everybody's got a job. But this valuation compared to the previous stock market crash, we are high. It doesn't mean we can't go any higher, but the higher we get, the more at the mercy of one of those 5 items we are that will impact your ability to make money in the stock market. First of all, Trump hasn't said yes and come in to the Oval Office, right? So we don't really know what he's going to be doing. We know he's got lots of ideas. We know these are potentially good ideas, but we don't know how they're going to be implemented. But having said that, when you hear some of the talk about what's going on with the tariffs, what's going on with Canada, what's going on with the country over in Greenland, what's going on with, so we have Canada, we have Greenland, we have Panama, right? I know he's just talking. This is negotiating tactics, right? Techniques in order to get what he wants. So you're scaring people off. And it's actually working because we already lost a president of Canada, right? A prime minister of Canada. But having said all that, it has an impact, right? Whatever he's saying, do it, don't do. And the market does not like uncertainty. But potentially that cannot be bad for the U.S., although the uncertainty can be detrimental to the stock market. 2, inflation. PPI is under control, CPI is under control, everything looks great. I beg to differ. I'm going to do a video on inflation, and I'm going to show you that inflation is higher. Now, it might not be in the numbers that the Fed is looking at, which is probably some weird CPI number that's showing that's under control, but CPI, inflation is higher than you think. Now, at the end of the day, as an investor, do you really care if the number is real or not? Well, not in the immediacy of the thing, because the number is lower, then it means that they're going to probably potentially lower rates because CPI, because inflation is under control, so therefore the market is going to go up. But if deep down, underground, for real, we do have inflation, you're going to feel it eventually through earnings and through corporates. So that's going to permeate through it. Let's not forget, we do not want to have what happened in the 80s, where inflation went down and went back up again. And that was a disaster. Economic activities are pretty strong. And look at the latest numbers, they are higher. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful that this inflation thing is under control, which it is not. Now, of course, what's been happening from the beginning is that we've seen over and over, the numbers on which we're making our decisions are not real numbers, right? And at the end of the day, all we're doing in this market is we're telling stories to each other. Right now, the story is we want the Fed to lower the rates. Is the Fed going to lower the rates? Yes, then the market goes up. They're not going to do it, then the market goes down. This is crazy. This is storytelling time. Wait until the real problem starts. And the problem is not whether or not the Fed is going to raise or lower the rates. That is a fool's errand right now. Number 2 has to do with Europe is in big trouble. I don't care about Europe. Yeah, but 48% of earnings are coming from Europe. and they are losing ground. France now is worse than Greece. Germany is barely holding on. We are having issues in Europe. No one is talking about it. Therefore, you need to start to worry when people are not talking about. Do you know what a black swan is? What no one is talking about. For a while last year, no one was talking about the debt, which leads us to our number 4, the debt. What is going on with the debt? The national debt? We cannot repay that much amount of money. It is competing with everything that we're doing. $37 trillion. They need to face up to it, but they cannot, because if they do, no one is going to hear what they have to say. Therefore, we need to be very cognizant that at some point, someone is going to say, no, I am not financing your debt. Then this house of cards is going to fall down. When? We don't know. But obviously, the higher the stock market goes, because don't forget, the market is going higher and higher, right? But these issues are still there. They're not going away. Europe is not going away. Inflation is not going away. Deep down inflation. The debt is not going away. We still don't know what Trump is going to do. Meanwhile, the market is going up and up. Do not be fooled. Listen to this video and you will see how right I was. Maybe now it's time to buy some puts on this QQQ or SPY or whatever, right? So, and these are the points. These are the 5 points. We have to make a 3-hour video on this, right? This is crucial. You need to be aware of what could potentially be happening in the stock market. And these are one of those things. Therefore, pay close attention to the debt. Pay close attention to what's happening in Europe. Pay close attention to what's actually happening at the inflation level. I will make a video to show you that inflation is actually higher, not lower. And quite frankly, if you were to measure the way we measure inflation in the 80s and the 90s, we should be closer to 8-9%, not 3%. That's a number that's being calculated, that's been revised and revised over the years to make it look as small as possible. You cannot not have inflation. Okay, the economy, yes, the economy is doing great, but inflation is also creeping up, and inflation going up, rates staying up, the debt needs to be financed. Everything is coming together at some point. Now you're going to say, but how could that be? Earnings are doing great. Earnings do not drive the stock market, not to that extent. I mean, earnings are like this, stock market is like that. It's such a disparity. It's getting further and further. All we're doing here, we're telling stories to each other, and we decide this is a good story, this is what's important, and therefore we're buying on that basis. We buy on the basis right now that inflation is low, therefore they're not going to lower rates, therefore we should be buying stocks. Yesterday, QQQ did that. PPI came out decent. They say, oh, then it looks okay. QQQ, which measures the NASDAQ, basically went up, 506, 507, and then 501. Same day. Now today, of course, CPI came out higher, but the core CPI is lower. We're up to 513. We are just telling ourselves stories all day long until the black swan will show up. And then they're going to turn around, they're going to look at the valuations, they're going to say, ooh, I think we paid too much for all this. And this whole thing is just going to come down. And then the Fed is going to have to lower the rates because they do not want us to go into a recession. And that's how it's going to play out. Watch it.